Hey everyone, chaomix here. Time for some embarrassing chaomix lore. I used to be an absolute scaredy baby back in the day. Used to. I'm not even exaggerating though, I used to be afraid of literally everything back when I was a child. There was one time when I was around 4 years old, my mom got me this small Barney toy for my birthday. Now, I absolutely loved Barney when I was a child. It was like my favorite thing in the world. This particular toy was able to talk and move its arms around when you press some button on its stomach, stuff that normal kids would probably find really enjoyable. Emphasis on normal kids. Yeah, that was not me. There was something about this toy that triggered my fight or flight response. It was pure evil. I was so afraid of it that my parents had to lock it inside of a closet until one day when I was hopefully brave enough to have it and finally play with it. This day never came. We ended up giving it away or something. I had a lot of childhood trauma from literally the stupidest things ever. This was also the case for certain video games, even ones that weren't supposed to be scary. For instance, I had a game for my Sega Dreamcast called 102 Dalmatians Puppies to the Rescue. Yes, this game scared me as a kid. Looks pretty innocent though, right? Well, there were these sections of the game where you'd be chased by these dog poachers throughout the level and you'd constantly have to run away from them. I was completely terror-stricken by this game because of these sections. I actually had to stop playing it, I was so terrified. It was specifically that feeling of being chased that made me nearly pee my pants. To this day, I absolutely hate this feeling of being pursued by something, even if it isn't even that threatening. There's actually a word for this, albeit on Urban Dictionary, that describes this exact phenomenon. Diocophobia is the irrational and extreme fear of being chased. It is the action of being chased by someone or something that frightens you, perhaps to the point of freezing, curling up defensively, or lashing out, verbally or physically. Diocophobia is not the fear of the thing chasing you or what it will do when it catches up. It is the fear of the chase itself. Now, despite me being a huge scaredy baby, I'm actually a huge fan of survival horror games like the Resident Evil and Silent Hill series. I've played basically every mainline game in both franchises, and they're some of my top games of all time. The scariest parts for me in these games were any kind of section where you were being chased by something. So basically the entirety of Resident Evil 3 with Nemesis chasing you around while you're trying to solve puzzles. Again, it isn't even Nemesis himself with his incredibly horrific character design, it's the stress and intensity from his pursuit that really sends me to the floor in the fetal position. But you want to know what's the scariest of all? People who aren't subscribed to chaomix. It's crazy, I know. If you enjoy my videos, I'd really appreciate it if you can hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit a huge channel milestone of 20,000 subscribers and we're getting really close. And when we get there, I'm gonna be doing a marathon stream of sonic.exe wearing this thing the entire time. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe today. It only takes a second of your time and it helps me out way more than you can possibly imagine. But anyways, now that I think about it, I can actually remember the exact game where I felt this horrible feeling of diocophobia for the first time. Despite what some may tell you, Sonic Adventure 1 is a survival horror game. Yes, this is a survival horror game. Don't believe me? Well then, join me today as we discuss the haunting survival horror elements in one of the most unlikely of places. Sonic Adventure is one of my favorite games of all time. Releasing in 1998 on the Sega Dreamcast, it was Sonic's first true 3D experience. One of this game's biggest selling points was how you were able to play as not only Sonic, but a bunch of his friends with their own unique stories and slightly different gameplay mechanics. You had Sonic with his usual high-speed platforming focused levels, Tails levels which focused on one-on-one racing, Knuckles and his treasure hunting levels, Big the Chad and his Sega Bass fishing, and Gamma with some fast-paced shoot-'em-up levels. But there was one more character you were able to play as whose gameplay left a lasting impression on me, one that still haunts me to this day. Amy Rose, a little girl who becomes bored with her mundane life, by chance encounters a helpless baby bird fallen from the sky straight into her arms. During Amy's story, she goes on a grand adventure with this bird, eventually learning about it being separated from its family. Amy makes it her duty to reunite this baby bird with its family, and eventually does so after being put in and overcoming several dangerous situations. So the baby bird gets reunited with its family, is released back into nature to live a peaceful life, and Amy is left feeling accomplished that she was able to use her strength to help someone in a helpless situation. What a wholesome and heartwarming story, right? Well, like I said, this is actually the big scary one. You see, her gameplay and story would be relatively simple and innocent if it weren't for one fatal aspect I conveniently haven't mentioned yet. This motherfucker. Meet E100 Alpha, aka Zero. Zero is a prototype version of the other E100 series robots, like our very own E102 Gamma. As you can clearly see from his design, he's much more bulky and way less streamlined looking than his more advanced brothers. His design is almost trash can-like, and he's about as graceful as one too. When playing as Amy, you make your way around each level like you'd expect. Go from the start of the level and get to the end. Except there's one catch.
Surprise, motherfucker!
This guy is relentlessly pursuing you the entire time. Unknowingly to Amy and even us as the player throughout the story, the baby bird following us around was housing a Chaos Emerald inside of the pendant it wore around its neck. Now this is a huge issue for exactly one reason. You see, Zero was programmed with one goal and one goal only, to retrieve the Chaos Emerald for his master, Dr. Eggman, at any means necessary. Because of this, Zero stalks and hunts Amy along with the baby bird with unbreakable persistence. And he has quite a few tools at his disposal to do so. Unlike his E100 series brothers, Zero doesn't have any projectile weapons, at least in the form of guns. The closest thing he does have is he's able to launch his huge boxing glove fist out on a tether. He's a lot more close-quartered in comparison. But luckily for us, he's kind of slow. He has to lock on with his laser vision before calculating his attack, and you can almost always get out of the way with more than enough time before the attack actually launches. He has a few other attacks though that can definitely take you off guard. He's able to slam the ground with his fist to create a shockwave. He's also surprisingly mobile. You may think you'll be safe by running away up high or low, but Zero has hops. This dude can scale entire buildings and then jump back down if that's what it takes to catch up to you. This really caught me off guard the first time I saw it and had me constantly second guessing if I was truly safe by running off to somewhere. Oh, and don't think for a second that learning the boundaries of his AI will completely help you. Just know that throughout the game, Zero will be waiting to pop out around any corner, fall down from any ceiling, or burst through any wall. He's basically a more horrifying version of the Kool-Aid Man, but instead of trying to sell you Kool-Aid, he's trying to harvest your organs. So yeah, Kool-Aid Man. After discreetly making his presence known, Zero will then begin to chase Amy around and be able to mostly keep up with her due to Amy being frustratingly slow. Actually, I see a lot of people complain about this exact thing. Amy and her much slower acceleration and top speed, especially when compared to Sonic. But that's kind of the point, and I think it really helps with what this gameplay is going for. While, yes, it's annoying to control her in the hub world because going up any type of slope turns her into a turtle, Amy's lack of speed makes it 20 times scarier when you're being chased by Zero. That is the entire point. You have to play so carefully as Amy because one wrong move and you'll lose all of your speed and have to painfully and slowly accelerate back to your pathetic top speed again. It perfectly replicates that feeling of running away from something in a dream, but being oddly slower than normal to the point where it feels like you're moving in slow motion as the thing chasing you quickly closes in. It's the most stressful feeling in the world, and you bet you're gonna feel it here too. One thing you're able to do to help yourself, and something I didn't know about until pretty recently, is hiding under certain objects. But if I'm being honest, the stress that comes from me wondering if he's gonna find me outweighs whatever feeling of safety I'm supposed to be feeling from hiding. The pure anticipation from him patrolling around looking for me as I hide mere inches away from him is just, nah man, I can't do it. So yeah, Zero can feel really threatening, but that doesn't mean we can't fight back. Kind of. You're able to hit Zero with Amy's hammer to momentarily stun him. However, he gets back up within about 2 seconds, and actually, if you do this enough times, he'll enter a state of rage and become immune to your attacks. Zero can't actually be defeated, only momentarily stunned. And on top of that, you have a finite amount of times you can stun him per level. The only thing you're able to do is run away. Unless you can't run away, like when you're doing puzzles. Now, the extent of these puzzles are literally what you'd find in a baby toy. Match the shapes and the colors, yeah, I'm kind of a genius. But when you're being chased by Zero, I'd be lying if I said a baby wouldn't outperform me. There's something about the stress of being chased that just makes my brain turn into mush and abandon all coherent thought. It makes even these simple types of puzzles way harder than they should be. It also makes split-second decision-making really difficult. Sometimes you'll have to make a choice of which direction to go, and that brief moment of hesitation can allow Zero to catch up to you. Especially since Amy is so slow, Zero is able to keep up almost perfectly. It can be difficult to outrun him, and looking back to check if you did or not can give him just enough time to close that distance. This is a huge factor in the feeling of his relentlessness. Luckily, there are times where he'll back off though, giving much needed breathing room for the player. His appearances are scripted, and he has set rooms where he'll be able to chase you around in, and also rooms which are off limits to his AI. It kind of reminds me of the safe rooms from Resident Evil. In survival horror games, it's important to do this too, because it gives the player a false sense of security. The anticipation of waiting for the next moment for Zero to aggressively emerge is absolutely nail-biting. I'll fully admit, once you learn all that Zero can do, you'll realize that he actually isn't all that threatening. His attacks are extremely slow, and getting hit just causes you to lose rings like any other enemy. You just pick them back up. So after playing through Amy's story so many times at this point, this is what I've come to realize. Zero himself isn't even scary, it's the chase. And this is exactly what Deocophobia is. It's the exact reason why Sonic Adventure and 102 Dalmatians can be just as scary as Resident Evil to me. Also, I really don't think this part of the game being as scary as it is was an accident. No, I think everything done to make it as scary as it is was completely intentional. Sonic Team definitely experimented in this playstyle, and I'm really glad they did. They made an otherwise unremarkable side story one of the most oddly memorable experiences in the entire series. Not everything in this game stuck the landing, but Amy's story and her survival horror elements have left a lasting impression on me even after all this time. And at the end of the day, I think it's definitely one that isn't appreciated as much as it should be. It's a total side story in the grand scheme of Sonic Adventure, but it's one that tries its own thing and, as far as I'm concerned, definitely deserves to be commended. Hey everyone, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this. I upload on a near weekly basis. In the comments below, let me know what you think about Amy's gameplay in Sonic Adventure. And to take that discussion even further, make sure to join the community Discord. I'll leave the link to that in the description. And last but not least, I gotta thank my amazing channel backers. You all are the #1 motivators and the biggest reason I'm able to keep doing this whole YouTube thing on a weekly basis. So huge thank you, I appreciate you all so much. If you're also interested in becoming a channel backer for only $2 and getting some amazing perks, press the join button beneath this video or the channel membership link in the description. So with all that being said, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Peace.